I'm going there to see my Savior. I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm just a going over Jordan. I'm just a going over home. I'm just a going over Jordan. I'm just a going over home. I'm just a going.
Wow. 7 years ago, I finished a game that I knew was going to change the way video games were viewed by the gaming community, change the way games were made, and absolutely, without a doubt, set a new bar for storytelling in the medium. In the time since, many games have tried to meet the heights set by The Last of Us. One was able to surpass it.
And you must be better than me. Understand? Say it.
I will be better.
And now I'm sitting here 7 years later wondering, where do we go from here? Not just for The Last of Us or the characters within it, but the video game industry as a whole. There hasn't been any other game series that has been as good as The Last of Us at making you feel exactly what the characters are going through, or that flows nearly as well into its sequel. The Last of Us 2 takes place about 5 years after the first, and shows the consequences of Joel's choices from the first game. Something that seems so simple to both Joel and the player, killing this NPC doctor to save Ellie, the girl you've grown to love, and Joel has not only grown to love her, he has taken her on as a surrogate daughter. This action will ultimately seal Joel's fate and be the catalyst for the adventure in The Last of Us 2. You see, this doctor is Jerry Anderson, the father of The Last of Us 2's second main character, Abby, who just a couple hours into the game brutally kills Joel right in front of Ellie.
Oh, shit.
What Naughty Dog does so incredibly well after this moment is make you feel and understand the humanity of their characters. It would be easy to hate Abby and take up the mantle as Ellie once again, setting out to find and kill her. However, the player is put in control of Abby and allowed to see the world through her eyes, share her experiences, and ultimately come to like her as a character. This makes Ellie's revenge mission less fun and more conflicting. Bucking the video game norm of bad guy is bad, stop bad guy, and giving us a look at the life behind these seemingly mindless antagonists. The Last of Us 2 even turns the idea of antagonists on its head because it doesn't really have one, or a protagonist in the traditional sense, just real people faced with terrible choices in a brutal world. The relatability of these characters and their stories comes from several different facets of the game, all coming together beautifully. The writing is spot on and feels very natural and human. The little bits of dialogue and banter between characters just as you adventure around add to the story and character development in huge ways, which means you won't have the same effect from just watching cutscenes on YouTube. This game has to be played for its story to be appreciated, which is a necessary progression for this medium, and one that makes the bold step to say, not only can video games tell Hollywood-caliber stories, but they can deliver them in a way that is unique and more engaging than films. Beyond the writing, the way that characters react with each other and the environment is an amazing feat of programming. Environments destruct and react to your presence in real time, enemies are injured in real time, and even your AI partners respond to situations like a real person. For example, in the first game, it seemed like sometimes your AI partner could just run around like a crazy person and still avoid detection. While nice that you don't have to worry about them, it can be pretty jarring from an immersion standpoint. This isn't the case with The Last of Us 2. Just watch this scene here with Manny. Not only did he accidentally start the encounter, but he also apologizes for it. It's not just an awesome bit of AI programming, it adds to his character and shows the relationship between Manny and Abby. Another big way that the design adds to the characters and story beats is that you can feel the anxieties of the characters, not just during combat encounters, but as they travel through the world. For example, Abby's fear of heights. It's subtly hinted at in the beginning, and throughout the game she makes a few comments about her jumping abilities. This all culminates to a section near the end of the game where she has to try and conquer her fear. During this section, the way that she and Lev talk to each other and the way she moves makes you feel the anxiety that she's feeling. Another design element of this game that I love is the stealth. While it doesn't necessarily add to the character development like the other design elements I mentioned, it is definitely the best stealth I have ever played in a video game. Especially this part here towards the end when you're in this flooded out building with Abby, and you can go under the water, sneak around, and grab these fools and pull them down to their watery deaths like you're friggin' Jaws or something.
You got anything?
I feel like I've done nothing but gush about how great this game is and how much I love it. I do have some minor gripes, but all in all they're just nitpicks, and they're design nitpicks, but they stick out like a sore thumb because of how well crafted the rest of the game is. Number one, this map. Early in the game they give you this map of downtown Seattle that has a few points of interest on it that you can ride to on your horse. Ellie uses it and marks it off in real time, no pausing, no waypoints, just an easy to understand map that shows you points of interest and prompts exploration. My problem is that this mechanic never comes back. The game seems to set this up as the way you're going to traverse the world this time around, and then quickly throws it out the window in favor of Naughty Dog's trusty walking simulator formula. It's not a deal breaker, but I really wish this would have stayed through the game. Number 2, these nasty boys that are stuck to the walls. The game teaches you during the sewer section with Elliot that they will wake up and attack you, but later on as you go through the game, it turns out that that isn't always the case, causing you to waste ammo and silencers trying to take them out. I thought once, oh, it's the ones that have shiny eyes that come alive, but that also turned out not to be true. Unless I'm missing something, and I might be, but if I'm not, this is just a very poor design choice and probably my biggest gripe with the game. Before we get into whether or not I recommend this game, it seems no discussion about it would be complete without talking about the controversy surrounding it. There are a lot of people angry about this game for a few different reasons, and I honestly don't understand any of them, but I'll try to touch on a couple and give a few reasons why I think it might be upsetting people. For a much more in-depth discussion of this, check out my friend Shockingly Neil's channel where he and I discussed it in a video. I'll leave a link to that in the description. The first thing that people seem to be upset about is Joel's death. I have to admit, this scene gutted me and shook me emotionally, but it is story-driven and expected, given the world these characters live in. It in no way is something that should have a real-world response against the game creators like it has had. My 6-year-old daughter knows how to separate fantasy from reality, and so should the adults that are playing this game. Another thing seems to be Abby. She killed Joel, and that has people beyond angry. So much so that they aren't only criticizing a fictional character, death threats have actually been sent to her voice actor. What is wrong with you? And there's really nothing more to say about that. These characters in this story are rough, cruel, and hard, but it is a well-told story and the characters' motivations are well explained. As far as the real-world aspects go, I'm at a loss. It's like I said just a few sentences earlier. You're either too young to be playing this game, or you have some issue with separating fantasy from reality. I grew up watching the Ninja Turtles. I never once thought that James Avery really wanted to chop up Michelangelo into turtle soup. Get a grip. Video games aren't life, they're just another art form like film and literature, and not all endings can be happy. Life doesn't always go the way we want it, and neither can the art that imitates it. So let's get this thing wrapped up. Do I recommend this game? Absolutely. 100%. If you play video games and you haven't played the Last of Us series, you're doing yourself a disservice. You can get both of them on the PS4 now. Go out, get them. They're amazing. I will say, do not play Part 2 without having played Part 1. That it's an awesome series, and it flows right into that sequel, and you can't play one without the other. With this channel being what it is, and being kind of kid-related, dad-related, things like that, all of my reviews I'm going to say whether or not your kids should play them, or what I think if I would let my kids play them. Ultimately, that always comes down to you as a parent, what you think is right for your kids. But this game is definitely an adults-only game. My kids aren't old enough to play it. I can't wait till they are, because I want to sit there and be there when they play this series, because it's awesome and it's emotional, and there's a lot of parental, feelings and things that will go along with it. But definitely not old enough to play this. And it's not the horror elements, it's not the violence, it's not things like that they're not old enough for. There's some sexy stuff in there. They're not old enough necessarily for that either in any of their media, but the biggest reason that they're not old enough for it is the emotional intelligence. This game does so much to pull at your heart and make you feel what these characters are feeling and what they're going through, And if you're not old enough or experienced enough in life or have the emotional intelligence to deal with that, I can see you going into a dark place and getting angry and doing things like some of these people are doing online. So that's all I have to say about that. Great game, parents only, adults only, and get out there and play it. I can't say enough good things about it. So thanks so much for watching this review, everybody. Like I said, go check out Shockingly Neil's channel with the discussion that he and I had about the game, and leave some comments below. Let me know what you thought of this review. I want to do more of them, and let me know what you thought about the game. And good night, and I'll talk to you later.